Hi, this is Bob Lawson. I want to give you a brief setup of how I set up my stop motion animation studio. So right now I'm recording through my iPad into my MacBook Pro using QuickTime, and I will show you how I get those settings in a minute. What I'm going to do right now is flip the camera so that you're actually looking out the back of the iPad camera, and you will see that I have a mini classroom set up. Now I've used this before when I created the Ultimate Ancient Civilization video, and those are actually color photographs of my room. Typically in the summer, custodial staff moves everything out, so I went in one day and took two pictures. Actually, I have a third one, so I can switch it around, so I can look at the look at me, who the little Lego figure who's standing at the front of the podium, from the back of the classroom, and vice versa, to kind of give you some different shots. But here's the device I created out of Lego to hold my iPad. And then if you look at my screen on my laptop, you'll see that I'm using QuickTime, and I've changed the camera from the camera on my MacBook to the camera on my iPad. And yes, I am plugged in from my laptop. Now, with the iPad placed in the holder, or the dolly if you will, that allows me to very slowly move my camera if I need to. It also allows me to not have to touch my camera, which is important when you're creating stop motion animations. The real key here is when you're doing stop motion animation, it's not a full film, it's a set of pictures. And so if you start thinking about animation, and you think about animation that's very fluid or very smooth, you're talking a lot of pictures. In fact, the ratio right now, the standard is 24 frames or pictures for every 1 second of film. Now in the classroom, and I've been doing this for a number of years, in the classroom I try to tell the kids between 12 and 15. If you would like to create one for your classroom like I've done, you're going to want to be in that 24 frames or pictures per second. And of course, I'm not using QuickTime when I'm doing my stop motion animation. I'm actually using my iPad and an app called iStopMotion. That's the app that I've found is the most robust and has the fewest crashes. There are free versions out there of other ones, and I'm sure they work well, but in the early stages of the iPad, this was the one that worked the best for me. I forget what the cost was, or even what the cost is now. It's probably $4 or $5, so maybe it wouldn't be feasible for all of the kids to have it, but it certainly could be something for you to have to create your animations. I guess the key really is you start collecting stop motion, or stop collecting Lego, and you can see I can slowly move my camera. I can also reposition it if I need to for a different scene. Now with stop motion animation, what I did to get started is I used trifold boards. I took them down to my tech ed guy, and he cut them down to about 8 inches high. Right now, if you were to look at my iPad, I have the camera at its lowest point, so that it's kind of eye level with those Lego minifigures. And that seems to, for me, give you the best shot. Other than that, you're taking a picture. It's almost like a top-down picture, and it doesn't sometimes do as well. But start off with the trifold boards. You can usually collect those after a certain project is done. You don't need a ton of them. If you cut them up in about 8 inches, 8-inch heights, you probably get 4 or 5 per board, and you should have more than enough for your classroom. It's what I used early on, and then I started collecting Lego and writing some grants for some Lego boards. The gray board that's the floor in this particular classroom is about 12 by 12, and that seemed to work for me.